Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show, where it's July 22nd, and anything that can go wrong might go wrong. But you know what? We're smiling, we're laughing, we're having an amazing time. We got a great show for you. I have a co-host who's solving his own problem that started just 3 minutes ago. And Clay, did you sleep here last night? Because I've never seen you this prepared before. This is amazing.
Did I sleep here? No.
Okay, just checking, because, I mean, everything was on, everything was set up.
Oh, yeah.
You are the man, Clay. I walked down here a few minutes ago, and I thought, oh, my goodness, if Amanda was here, nothing would be ready. That's so not true. But since she's not here, we have to troll her. She's managed to drag her vacation on a little while longer by claiming Joe Biden disease. So hopefully she's okay. She's doing well. We're glad that she is not in the studio with us today because we like to be healthy on good days. So anyway.
Yeah, I hung out with her all Sunday. So.
Oh, how's she feel? Oh, don't say that now. Now it looks like she's really skipping work.
I mean, I was there at church. She was there at church.
She said she was going to go to church.
She had like a triple sneeze there, and I was like, uh-oh.
And you're like, stay away from me?
Well, unfortunately, we're in the old women's bathroom, which is
there's no away from one another in that room. No, there's like one chair and then another chair 2 inches away.
So we both might drop out soon.
So if one of you has to change your mind, you've got to leave that room. Yeah. There's not enough room in there for that. So, no, we got a great show. It's a wonderful weekend. And like I said, I've got a very special guest here today because Amanda couldn't be here today. And then that kind of downward spiraled everything. You did manage to beat the traffic, though, Clay, which was amazing.
Yeah, I got Taco Bell, and the guy's truck in front of me broke down in the drive-thru.
No, it didn't. Well, remember, I said whatever can go wrong will go wrong today.
Absolutely.
It's July 22nd. I just have to get home at the end of the show to take my wife to dinner because it's our 35th anniversary, and I don't want to miss that. So,
congrats.
Thank you very much. It's I don't know what she has. I don't know how she's managed to put up with me for all these years.
I don't know either. She's a saint.
She is 100% a saint. 100% a saint. Well, let me do some reads while we're waiting on our guest to fix his problem, which I think is going to take longer than the read. So, Clay, whatever you want to talk about when we come back, just let me know. A to Z offers free estimates, and they've been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years. A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing also offers painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties up to 25 years. And if you want a shingle roof, they can get you warranties up to 50 years. A to Z also installs tile roofing, those famous cedar shake shingles, designer roofing, and flat roof coverings. You can go to their website, A2Z Roofing and Waterproofing.com. You can check out all kinds of recent jobs they've done, or just better yet, call Chuck McCone and his staff, 904-669-8037. They can take care of all of your roofing needs. Great company, longtime sponsor of the show. We love those guys. I use them personally. They're a very, very, very good company. And Hebert Kresge and Associates, a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top levels of service in the areas of tax compliance and planning for businesses, individuals, estates, and trusts. They can also do audits, reviews, and other accounting services. And if you need a business valuation, forensic analysis, and litigation support, they can do that too. Call Bill and Ken over at Hebert Kresge, 904-460-0747, Hebert Kresge. I also use those guys too. And Anastasia Diner and Moultrie Creek Diner. These are neighborhood diners that are more than just a place to eat. They're where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own or make new ones. The coffee is always hot, the smiles are genuine, and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner and Anastasia Diner and tell them Andy sent you, and put it on Pete's bill. That always works for me. All right, today is July 22nd. There's nothing on the Jackie Hurd calendar, so it is Darcy Davis is a saint day for being married to Mike Davis, so we're going to go with that. You good with that, Clay?
Yeah, it works for me.
That works for me. I think that's one of the best days we can do. And also, my mailbox is having fatigue. This is the last couple of days in my mailbox, and I have a whole stack over here on the other side that's getting to be about 3 feet high. However, this year, due to, I guess, all kinds of computer algorithms and other things, I did get 2 happy birthday cards this year. I got a happy birthday card from Rob Hardwick, who's running for county sheriff, and from Tom Leake, who's running for state senate. So I guess now, if your birthday is during the election cycle, you can expect a birthday card as well. It is so nice to have a co-host on here.
Yeah, it's temporary.
I have a feeling you're going to have to go answer a call about someone being in an elevator.
Yes, and it's a close friend of ours that's actually in the elevator.
Who's in the elevator?
I can't say because he hasn't given me permission. So
well, I know he recognized my voice, so I knew he knew where you were.
My shirt keeps falling off.
That's okay.
I wanted to make an announcement if we're ready for.
We're ready for an announcement. Make an announcement.
All right, I accept your vice president nomination.
Yes.
Because I understand you are running
the American Party.
For the American Party.
I am running for the American Party.
And wearing the Uncommon Ground hat.
Yes.
We're reviving the American Party.
Yes.
You know,
it seems to be the only party that's willing to get a candidate out there that can stay there.
And get along.
And get along.
Get along.
Yes.
So
should we do it all together? Should we say goodbye, Joe? Can you give him the royal goodbye wave?
No. I feel bad for the guy.
I don't feel bad for him. He knew he had problems when he ran 4 years ago. He knew he had problems a year and a half ago when they decided to continue to run.
I don't know if you get to that point, if you're cognitive enough to realize how bad your problems are.
His people closest to him knew.
That's who you should be mad at.
And they ran him anyway both times.
I agree with that's who we should be mad at.
Yes.
So
they're saying now that it was a forged signature.
Which one?
On his letter of resignation.
Well, I don't know if he's awake yet to tell him he's not running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, someone just told him like a couple hours ago, and he goes, "I was running?
I was running?" Well, I think Adam Carolla had the best way of doing it. We talked about this last week, is just get as close as confidence together. Mm-hmm. When he comes up to you and says, "I'm running for my second term," all of them look at him at the same time and go, "But sir, this is your second term."
Yes.
And that's the way you get out of that. You just let him know he's already... You've been so successful.
Yeah.
Somebody said today he's the most famous politician from Delaware. I'm like, talk about a low bar.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot.
Talk about, you got the 2 guys that signed the Declaration of Independence. Maybe the 2 guys that signed the Constitution. I'm waiting.
That's it.
That's it. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, so does he have to leave the presidency as well?
I don't know, and I don't know if that helps. I think that's one of the things that the Democrats are going to be discussing, if that helps their party or if it hurts the party. What I said this morning is I think this is a sacrificial lamb who's ever running in this election right now, because the Democrats are in absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Anybody who votes for a Democrat right now you're just over the top too blue. Right now. So I can't see, and that's coming from me. I've bounced, my early part of my career was Democrat. But I can tell you right now, if this even happened in my early part of my career, I couldn't vote blue.
So my question for you is, you're struggling to find a candidate. I'm waiting for the one act or something where you just have to go, I got to do it again. I'm just waiting for that. And I should have brought in the head of lettuce today that Dave Portnoy so talked about. He said, basically, you put a head of lettuce on, and if you're still voting Democrat, you'd vote for a head of lettuce. Yeah. And you just have said that exactly.
No, it's 100%. Yeah. It's 100%. You're too blue for your own good.
Yeah.
So how do you, there's no democracy in this process because you don't get to vote, right, for who that candidate is.
And that's the way in history, the way history was. That's the way it originally was. We didn't have primaries until 1912, and even then they didn't really count until 32 or 36. But you do understand
the Democrats have spent 4 or 5, 6, 7 years talking about Trump ruining democracy. They managed to rig the election for Joe Biden, right? They got Bernie out in 2020. They all got behind him, right? They managed to do that. So the Democratic voters never really had a choice past South Carolina. The first 3 states did, and 2 of them said a hard no to Joe, right? And Kamala was out before it ever started. She was gone before the first primary.
Mhm.
So those were their candidates. No one picked them. Bernie, I think, had a really good chance of winning in 2020, but the Democratic elites were afraid Trump would crush him because of his socialism. So they get Joe in, and Joe does the socialism anyway.
Mhm.
And then Joe is now ill. He cannot run. And so they go, okay, we had a primary where we wouldn't let Robert Kennedy compete. We wouldn't let all these other people compete. And now we're taking those votes for Joe away from you. We're going to pick somebody else because we're again afraid that you will not beat Donald Trump.
Yeah.
How afraid of Donald Trump are they that they would rig the system like this many times?
Yeah. No, and it's and you're saying I don't know if it's rigged or not. I mean, it's politics, and politics have always been nasty.
Let me put a different word in. Manipulated.
Yeah, and that's done by both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely took advantage of a situation and got their guy in. Their guy tried to break our country. Luckily, our country government moves at glacier speed, so you can't really absolutely break it. But did he do a good job of hurting
it? But I don't think it moves at glacier speed anymore. So here's where, for me, the thing that's really dangerous. You had people that ideologically were opposed to one another 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when Reagan was president, right? So 40 years ago, Ronald Reagan's president. The difference between Republican and Democrat was not that great. There were certain things they both agreed on. If you look at the difference between Republican and Democrats today, there's damn little that they both agree on. And there's a whole lot of stuff that they're diametrically opposed to one another. And some of them won't even listen to the other side when they're talking about those things.
Well, and I had a bipartisan conversation with McGovern when McGovern was here.
Mm-hmm. You liked him.
I liked him, and he was a
Did you?
He was a war hero. He was a smart man. He was a historian. So we really talked a lot of history and some of those things, and
he got crushed.
He got absolutely destroyed. He picked the vice president. His first vice president candidate had a lobotomy.
Yeah.
And he had to switch with 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Before the election, he had to switch his vice presidential candidate because they hadn't vetted him properly. His joke was if Watergate would have came out 8 months earlier, he might have been president. And he goes, but I'm not sure. But his bipartisan conversation was him and Bob Dole were very close.
Yes.
Him and Bob Dole started the free lunch program for underprivileged children that possibly saved thousands of lives since the 1960s.
And also may or may not have put really bad food in front of school kids.
It probably did but they already had
they ate something.
They already had bad food.
I'm just saying they ate something. I'm not saying it was the healthiest food. Thank God Michelle Obama came along and fixed that.
Yeah, that didn't work either. But the problem is they were guaranteed that meal.
Yes.
And a lot of these kids weren't guaranteed that meal at that time. We were doing okay, but we weren't as wealthy as we are right now. And I need you to finish that thought.
I am going to finish that thought. But first of all, Clay, what do you think about Joe leaving the race? Clay, are you there? I think Clay's eating dinner. Clay had Taco Bell.
Yeah, sorry. What do I think? I think that it's kind of cheesy. I mean, it's not like he changed. As he's been the same guy the last 3 years at least. They've had plenty of time to get him out and get new candidates where the people can elect them and put forward the best candidate they think. It's this elite class who thinks they can just put whoever they want in there. And I'm sick of it. I think America's sick of it. I mean, they're just doing it right in front of our eyes now, and they don't care.
I don't think he should have run 4 years ago. I think he was the best candidate the Democrats could find 4 years ago, but I don't think health-wise he was in great shape, right? And if you looked at his decline over the last 4 years, just getting him on and off of a stage, getting him up and down stairs was a difficult thing to do. And so I really blame the people closest to him for letting him stay in as long as they did, because I don't think there's any way cognitively he was going to be able to get to November, much less past it, And I feel bad for him. I've had family members that have dealt with either dementia or other cognitive issues, and it's not fun to watch. And when I watched him walk, I saw traits of people that I knew that were dealing with some of those things. So I felt horrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible condition. I mean, I've had some really close friends with family members who have struggled with dementia and stuff like that, and it's terrible to see people go like that. But you know, if he's at that point and they're finally admitting that he shouldn't be running, then he shouldn't be president. He needs to step down. I think I saw something earlier about them invoking Amendment 25 or something.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about that over the next couple of weeks.
And then I low-key want to see that happen so that we get a little taste of Kamala to see if she's absolutely terrible or not.
Well, and I don't know that they want her to do that, right? Because if she's learning on the job, which first of all, that's one of the most difficult jobs in the world, right? So I would disagree with her policies, but I don't care who you put in there the first couple months. That's not the easiest job. That's probably some of the hardest times you have trying to kind of work your way through that, because it's just so much information flowing at you at one time. And the decisions that you have to make. So for me, the other question is, who's been running the country the last 6 months or the last 3 years?
Yeah,
if Joe's in that kind of shape, who's been making the decisions? Who's been in the room with him when he said, this is what we should do? Or who had told him, Joe, this is what we should do? And then he said yes to that. Who were those people? I think that is a secret that, shame on the media, shame on the staff. I mean, if Donald Trump or a Republican was having cognitive issues, trust me, it would have been all over the press everywhere. They'd have been leaking that story left and right. So there are people that knew it that didn't say anything about it, or knew it and didn't pass it along to the press, or the press just sat on the story. So as far as I'm concerned, those people are just as guilty for what's happened to Joe as the people that said, hey, we're going to run him again. Because they could have gone out and said, he's having cognitive decline, we need to do something different. But they hid it. And that's what I want to know, is who those people were. Because those are the people that, I mean, they're affecting millions of people's vote on the Democratic side in the primary. Millions who could have actually had a real primary. And that would have been a democratic process, which would have been great. Is everything okay at your hotel?
Blake Blevins saved the day.
Blake Blevins saves the day every day.
I had to send him to...
Oh, I know who was in there.
Yeah.
I saw the initials.
Yeah. You saw it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't have survived that long.
Well, good thing I didn't have Blake covering tonight for me.
Yeah. I would have called you. Don't worry. You're my work son.
You were involved in today's Mike and Troy relationship, no matter where you work. Like
yeah.
You were a backup for either production or elevator maintenance.
Yeah. So I needed somebody who could climb 8 flights of stairs.
Yes.
Reset an elevator, get the person out of the elevator,
yes,
let them get to the bottom, and then shut off the elevator again.
Okay.
So the elevator is shut down until tomorrow morning.
Yes.
So everybody who's still in the building, sorry, but we're not getting you stuck in the elevator.
And you only have one set of stairs, right? Or one elevator working.
We only have one working elevator. We have one that's completely getting redone that is good in like 2.5 weeks, and those are going to be the longest 2.5 weeks of my life.
Why don't you just hire Blake to sit up on the 8th floor and wait for this to happen?
Just reset.
Because then it wouldn't happen. I know, then it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, he would be bored to death.
Oh, I don't know. Blake can make up stuff. He's got things to look at on his phone.
Yeah. So, no, he can work from his phone. Everybody can.
Everybody can work from their phone. So anyway, we were just simply talking about Joe's mental decline. Who was in charge? Who's been making decisions?
I think it's probably chief of staff, and it probably by committee. I don't think it's Jill.
Chief of staff makes sense because he called him the commander in chief.
I think Jill has been heavily involved in this administration.
I think it's by committee, but I think a majority of this is happening by chief of staff.
Yes, Heather, someone was in the elevator, but Blake Blevins saved the day.
Saved the day.
Elevator repairman Blake Blevins.
Yes. Yeah. We got him out. He was very pleased to be out of the elevator.
And he's a good young man.
He's a great tenant, and I'm sorry that happened.
Yes.
So
you're cutting his rent?
What?
I love asking you that question. You always have the same reaction.
What? I'm sorry. I think you broke up on air too.
Clay and I were also talking. Should Biden leave office? Should he resign and let Kamala move in as president?
I can tell you right now, he's not president. He's not acting president. So I think, like I said, I think it depends on how the Democratic Party want to set their strategy more so than it being his decision.
Okay.
You know, and who's ever making the decisions and has been making those decisions for him is probably the one that's going to decide whether or not he should step down entirely.
All right.
So I don't know if he wants to be known as the second president who's resigned.
Well, but also, does the country need somebody that's more competent than him at this point in time? There are dangers all over the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I believe they're called existential threats.
It's only in July, and there's plenty. Like, we're in the middle of all this crap now. You can't. This, like, until the next president gets in there, this is like the crunch time.
If I was the Taiwanese people, I'd be handing out weapons today. I'd be handing out weapons, ammunition, and having classes today.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the next 5 months is the most dangerous time for Taiwan that you will see.
Well, I can tell you, without him being in charge of the military and they let the military leaders make their decisions, it could be even worse.
It could be even worse. I think the current crop of military generals that we have today is on par with the same crop that Lincoln inherited in 1861 at the start of the Civil War. And some of the ones that we had at the beginning of World War I. I just think they're awful. So,
and they may have been making their own decisions. That's why we're here.
Susan Catherine, Obama has been involved quite a bit. You know how much this hurts me to say that, but if Joe's cognitive decline is as bad as is, that's a relief.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can't believe I said that, but that would be a relief. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go to therapy tomorrow after admitting that.
Yeah.
That would be a relief. So I don't think Oprah's behind it. I honestly don't. I think Oprah's got other stuff to do.
Yeah. So
make money, spend money.
Just so you can read that.
Yeah.
It was on yours also, but
who is this from?
Who do you think? You showed empathy for the person that was stuck in the elevator.
I did. Oh, yes, I did show empathy for them. Yes.
It's a rare thing for you.
I don't know really what came over me. It is my anniversary, so maybe I'm just feeling.
I can't believe you didn't wear your hat.
I didn't realize you were coming on the show today.
I have an uncommon ground hat on.
I know.
I mean, I am ready for radio.
You are ready for radio.
I've always had the face for radio.
I know. You know, I heard, and you already know the definition, but I did hear it again last week, where mad as a hatter came from. And I realized all the hats you wear that you are mad as a hatter.
Yeah.
And now I know why.
It's from the tanning of it.
It's from the tanning of it and all the chemicals that were used, and it drove people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, no, I think there's going to be a lot of decisions made prior to the convention. You know, I think getting him to take this step is one thing, but the next step's a much bigger step. If he's cognitive, you know, it would be.
Is he going to even be able to appear at the convention?
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if we'll ever see those medical reports.
No,
but you know, I think we have a better chance of seeing Trump's tax records than we do for seeing Joe Biden's medical reports.
I say the Easter Bunny releases both of those on Christmas.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting on.
I think we have a better chance of hearing that the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus ran away together.
I think you honestly do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bigfoot delivers them in person to the White House.
Well, you know, no, he was the chauffeur.
Yeah, I know. So I the other question I have is Joe can't do the job. Kamala's not doing the job, right? Or she's got a campaign. Even if she's campaigning as vice president or president, there's still a lot of stuff that's got to go on. I think this is a very dangerous time for our country. And if I'm a bad actor, I'm just emboldened to try to act right now. Because I think everybody's got their eye off the ball. The other thing where I was going a second ago, I kind of lost my train of thought. Do you know the amount of favors that are being doled out by the elites right now?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you have AOC who came on and blasted this process the other day, who's now on board. So what did she get? Gretchen Whitmer, not happy about it. What did she get? Gavin Newsom. You know, every one of these people was called, and they're politicians.
Yeah.
And someone said, we all have to unify together or Trump's going to win. They didn't say, you're right, whatever the party needs. They said, this is what I want in the future.
Well,
you know it's true. You've been around politicians. You know it's true.
I can tell you they definitely got their pound of flesh. Everybody gets their pound of
Everybody
flesh.
that comes on board with this has been bought with something.
All right. How old's AOC now?
I don't know, 30 something.
Okay, is she over 35?
I don't think she's over 35.
Okay. Because, I mean, what I was wondering is
she running?
Will there be an all-woman ticket?
I don't think they're picking.
Do you think? Because Gavin can't really be unless one of them moves. One of them has to move out of California. You can't have both from the same state.
Why not? No, that's not true. It's just never happened before. I don't think it's true.
There's some ruling in place because they were talking about it possibly being a conflict with
Rubio and DeSantis.
Yeah,
which
Rubio.
DeSantis wasn't going to make it.
But it doesn't make any sense to have two from the same state that you're already going to win.
Yes.
So I mean, the head of cabbage wins California.
Yes, the head of cabbage wins California easily.
So you're already going to win that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to me. Who's gonna want to be the sacrificial lamb with her on this ticket?
So can you imagine this, right? So Democrats are all freaking about the polling. So they're going to run this convention in a couple of weeks. They're already, as far as what I have read, they're a week or 2 weeks behind. If they do not nominate their candidate in a certain time frame, the candidate will not be on the Ohio ballot.
Yes.
Which means you're giving up the state of Ohio. And maybe Democrats are like, well, we're either going to win with it or without it. But you're giving it up by having your convention this late.
You can't.
So what do they do if Kamala goes out there and lays the biggest egg imaginable in the acceptance speech? What do you? I mean, at that point in time, you can't pull her back.
It's a sacrificial lamb.
So you think they already realized Trump could win?
I think it's a sacrificial lamb. I think if they felt like they had a legitimate candidate right now, this is not the time. I mean, if I'm their strategist, I'm not, but if I'm their strategist, I basically go, all right, let's throw out two people that we don't want around in 28.
Yeah. So basically the other thing you're saying is someone get out a calendar and let's start figuring out what we're going to do in 2026. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out how we can get the House back and the Senate back in 2026.
I can tell you this right now, if I'm in charge of their strategy, I go back to 16.
Okay.
And say, she got half the vote. She got more of the popular vote. And if there's enough people that are ticked off at Trump that might jump ship, I mean, Hillary would be my pick. And that way she's a sacrificial lamb for 28 because they really don't like her a whole lot. But she is going to pull, she's at least not going to be completely mopped up, but she's still going to lose.
I think she's a strong possibility for a couple of reasons. She brings, although I disagree with her foreign policy experience and what she has done, she does bring foreign policy experience to that ticket. God, she's almost like the Dick Cheney of the Democratic Party.
Exactly. No, she 100% is.
Somewhere Democrats are shuddering that I compare her to the Dick Cheney of the Democratic Party. But I think that she's that potential. She brings that. The other is it's for the first time in the history, it's two women on the ticket. So it makes it a historic ticket in that sense. Okay. My issue is, and I was listening to Juan Williams yesterday. I was driving down the road and I just had a minute and I was listening because I didn't watch a ton of news about this. I knew what it was. I knew what was going on. I didn't need it. So Juan Williams says, if Kamala is the presidential candidate, she will help to mend fences with minorities. Do you believe that's true or not true?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think so. I think that's insulting to minorities. Just because she is a black woman, if her policies are wrong, her policies are wrong. She's Indian descent. If her policies are wrong, her policies are wrong. So I think it's insulting to say, oh, they're only voting for her because she's that color, or she's only able to do this because of her ethnic background. I don't think that's true when it comes to the rubber hitting the road.
I think that minorities, all minorities inside the bigger cities, have been hit very, very hard by immigration, the illegal immigration and the busing and movement of immigrants into the larger cities. I think that has strained the Democratic coalitions within these cities. and the lower and middle income class people that have had to really deal with it are pissed about it. And there was one person who was in charge of it from day one, and that was her. So I don't think it's this groundswell of support. You might see it move the needle a little bit, but I don't see it moving the needle a lot.
And I think, and Trump is very good, but I think one of the things he has to get away from, because I do see it as insulting, is calling them black jobs and Hispanic jobs. They're lower income jobs. It's not just the ethnic groups, it's lower income jobs that are hurting. And he needs to recognize it as that. I think when he does that, it is an insult.
Yeah, but I think there's probably some political consultant that's telling him if you call them lower income jobs, then you're ignoring the fact that it disproportionately affects people in big cities that are either African American or Hispanic.
I mean, even call it urban, you know, because you and I have brilliant friends from different ethnic backgrounds, and so I mean, to me, I think it's a little insulting to direct it that way. I think you might be right. The speechwriter's like, hey, we need to identify this as a target of what it's hurting.
I think it's more about the group you're trying to reach than looking at it as a bigger, you and I would look at it as a bigger, broader problem.
Yeah.
So that's that. The other issue that Juan talked about that she would be a huge help on, and I got my own feelings about this, but I want your opinion first. His number 2 one was abortion. And I look at that issue as it is such a polar divide between voters. There are groups of voters that will always vote Democrat because they feel like Democrats will do the best they can to make it the least amount of restrictions on abortion. And they will vote against Republicans because there might be any kind of restriction. And then on the other side, you have voters that will vote Republican because they want them to get rid of abortion altogether. Right? I don't think that moves a needle really with anybody anymore. That voting block is there for Democrats. It's not going away. In fact, it's probably more a secure voting block for Democrats today than minorities are for Democrats.
Yeah, and technology's changed in a lot of those situations. Abortion, and you and I had some amazing back and forth, and it's a topic you and I decided we weren't really going to talk about a whole lot. But the technology has made it, the morning after pill and some of the other stuff that's available nationwide has reduced a lot of those things. But I think if Republicans mess with it and push it too hard, it's going to hurt them. And if Democrats mess with it and push it too hard, it's going to hurt them. So I think it's a topic that's probably going to be glazed over in this one. Because
I don't think it's glazed over.
For the evangelical, he'll throw it out there. But as far as if Trump wants the masses, Trump needs to focus on the economy, and that's where he needs to stay. If he gets sidetracked with some of these other things, it's going to create, because that's when he fumbles on himself. That's when he fumbles on himself. So he needs to focus on what he is the master of, and that's the economy.
So what you want him to do is take James Carville's advice. It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah,
that was James's advice in 1986. So stick to James's advice. Today.
So stick with what he's the best at. If he's a fastball hitter, don't try and swing at curveballs.
Well, but I look at it. Trump's answer on abortion is, hey, it's now up to the states. If you're in a state, you can affect that. You now, as a person, get to vote on abortion, which we were never allowed the opportunity when the Supreme Court in 1973 said it's now the law of the land. Went from one law of the land to the other law of the land without any votes, which I think in a democracy, that's what you want, is to be able to vote on things, right? So states have the right. There's going to be an abortion ballot on the Florida. It'll be one of the constitutional amendments this time. I don't know if it gets to 60%. I'll be very curious to see, but I don't see that swinging Florida, right? So for years, you've had these push issues that would get on as amendments. It was gay marriage that the Republicans used hugely back in the 90s and early 2000s to drive out evangelical vote, to vote for marriage between a man and a woman. That all went away in a Supreme Court. It was gone, right? Over. It was one of the most amazing long battles I've ever seen that nobody ever fought about afterwards. I think by the time it got to that point, people were like, okay, we don't care.
You got that.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
So the other one is marijuana issues. So they were trying to get marijuana issues on the ballot all over the place. And again, drive out younger, more liberal voters to vote for marijuana and hope they'd vote Democrat.
I think
down
it's
the line.
Amendment 3 or something like that.
Mhm.
I think I saw my first commercial
Yeah.
the other day about it being recreational.
Yes.
Here.
They're spending.
I think it's Amendment 3 on our ballot.
They are going to spend a boatload of money on that. I'll be very curious to see where it goes because I personally think that marijuana use spans both parties.
Mhm.
I think if you use it, there are people that are conservative that use it, and there are people that are liberal that use it. I think it's just one of those things but there's also people that don't on both sides for various and sundry reasons. So
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to see where that rolls.
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, and this you'll find this strange is I probably use marijuana more
Mm-hmm.
before I have my license, and now that I have my license, I don't use it at all.
Yes.
So I mean, I might do an edible to sleep, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So, but I want people to have that right too.
Well, I'll be curious to see what I personally think that all the trial lawyers are just waiting until the marijuana companies become.
Oh, I brought a losage for you. You want?
No, thanks. I'm
Okay,
good.
all right.
I'm fine. Become fully legal. The money's in the bank legally,
Mhm.
and they're going to. So marijuana use started about 4 or 5 years ago,
Mhm.
right? The only thing that will save the marijuana company, in my mind, is edibles,
Mm.
right? That because there's no smoking with that.
Mhm.
But I still think smoking marijuana is going to have the same negative effects for you that smoking anything else does. And I look at the lawyers lining up and ready to go after the company. So I see it
Yeah.
becoming a more edible business and less smoking.
Yeah, it might be the lawyers that get it passed, just so the lawyers know.
They know who to go
what,
get.
What was the guy who
Yes.
ran against Kerry, the trial lawyer that made bazillions of dollars?
Morgan and Morgan?
No, against Kerry for the presidential. He finished like second or third.
I don't remember.
I think it was out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Lawyer out of North
I don't
Carolina. I
remember.
can. If our audience is out there, they'll.
If Amanda was here, we'd already know the answer.
Yeah, she'd already have it.
She'd already have the answer.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Tim, I'm so glad your glaucoma is doing well.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so glad that is
He was
doing
over
well.
here texting me like he didn't
know.
know I was on the air.
I know. Well, he didn't recognize you without your
Oh,
regular hat.
yeah.
He's got your baseball hat on, and he just didn't recognize
I
you.
got my radio hat on.
Plus, you said you might vote for Trump, so he really got excited about that.
I didn't say that.
You almost said that.
I did not say that.
You almost said that.
I did not say that.
I think your choices are getting limited and narrowed down.
Yeah. Robert, I can tell you if they want a true sacrificial lamb,
Yes.
like the Democrats, they do all their polling and they're like, there's no way we can win. That's how they get rid of RFK. They just throw him out there for this one and he loses miserably.
There was a video of him this weekend.
RFK is the only one that's pulling to beat Trump.
He's polling to beat Trump.
I tell you what, I don't know what he paid that
That must
polling.
be his polls.
If it was a one-on-one, they pulled him versus Joe and him versus Trump, and he won. Like it was really close with Trump, and
That's
with
if
Joe,
he's
it
got
was
the
a blowout.
Democrats behind him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if he's got the Democrats behind him. It's
Hey, I saw a video of him this weekend with a diamondback rattlesnake. He caught it in the driveway, pinned its head down, and picked it up. And I was like watching that going, yeah, I don't know if I want him to be my president. That's a really brave thing to do, but I'm not sure I want you to be my president because you're playing with a rattlesnake. I'm not sure
Yeah.
it's like, oh, these are the nuclear codes?
Yeah.
What happens if I hit these
I
buttons?
kind of like that. So, but he was a kid.
It made me nervous. I was
Yeah.
like, no. I
Yeah.
didn't think he was going to get hurt because they showed the video, right? I knew that he was
Yeah.
going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Craziness that has come out before we do 5 questions.
Oh, I forgot Monday's 5 questions.
I
I'm
have-
never here on Mondays.
I know. We have 5 questions. So there are some people on the left, and there's crazy conspiracy theories on both sides. So I'm not saying that the left has a monopoly on these because the right does really well with them as well.
Mhm.
One of the theories I heard is that Trump faked the assassination.
I heard that right away.
I was like,
Right away. Yeah.
Seriously?
I heard that immediately. Is like,
Yeah.
is that real? What was this?
Yeah.
And I was like, someone died. No one faked that.
Well, no,
someone lost their
I
life.
asked the question of someone I consider a sane, liberal-leaning person, what about the person who died? The comment was, well, I don't put that past Trump to lose someone else's life to have an impact. And I went, oh my gosh, you really do hate him more than anything I could possibly imagine. I thought, this is crazy. I said, how could you do that?
Have you seen the trial going on right now for this Secret Service director?
It's a hearing, and it's a waste of time, but I did watch some
Today,
clips from it.
People have been roasting her, like all the.
It's not going to change anything. I mean, listen, if I was a Democrat and I'm under Secret Service protection, I'm hiring my own staff. If I'm a Republican and I'm under Secret Service protection right now, until she is gone, I'm hiring my own staff.
Yeah.
I'm figuring out how to harden the perimeter around me because I don't trust the Secret Service the way it's being run right now.
No, some of the things that she kind of threw it out. That's for the FBI to tell. That's for the FBI. She didn't answer anything, and I don't know what she can answer, but she looked incompetent.
The number of people that have been fired for screwing up in the Biden administration stands at this staggering number. Would you two like to guess what this number is of people who have lost their jobs for either being incompetent or making stupid decisions? Do you guys want to know what the number is?
I'm going to say it's 2.
Clay?
See, there's
0.
0.0, Mr. Blutarski.
All right.
That is how many people?
John Edwards.
John Edwards.
That was the money. He was the cigarette guy. He got all the cigarette money.
And then he became the VP for Kerry. Yes.
Yeah, North Carolina John Edwards. I just couldn't come up with his name, so I had to cheat.
Someone tell Melissa we're only blocking liberal comments.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Melissa,
I'm not blocking anything.
We're not blocking. We're not smart enough to block anything. Amanda could if she were here, but we don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Clay might be able to. But
I don't even have a computer anymore. So.
Yes. All right. Anything else? I do think the Democratic convention is going to be the wildest thing ever. I do think it's interesting that Kamala picked up $50 million in donations.
What do you think the strategy is? Mm-hmm. The best strategy for the Democrats to be competitive? I don't think they can win. I just don't think they can win at this point. What do you think the best strategy to be competitive right now would be? First
of all, everything that you have tried against Trump, that you're going to put in your ads, the fact that he's been convicted, J6, that stuff only fires up your base. Independents have made a decision about it. They're okay with all of that if they can have their economy back, right? So somehow, some way, you have to pivot and say, we are going to change the things that we've done. But if you do that, you're admitting you did stuff incorrectly, right? And I get this, that the stock market is high right now. I get that inflation has leveled, but prices are still through the roof from when he went into office. There are serious economic issues that we have, plus the danger of the people and the type of people that if they wanted to come across the border that are in our country right now, and I don't mean people looking for a new job or a better life or someone who just jumped the border. I think that's all wrong and you should go get in line. And if you're in here illegally, you should be in the back of the line in front of people that were doing it legally. But you have terrorists that potentially have come into this country through that open border. And it's not just the southern border, it's also the northern border. Mm-hmm. And if they do something crazy between now and election time, there's not a thing the Democrats can do to survive.
Yeah.
If there's a terrorist attack between now and the election, this thing is over. Yeah. Of course, I expect Democrats to blame Trump for it the next day.
I think they really, if I compare it to a boxing match and bout, and it's 15 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Democrats are in round 12, and they've lost 10. So the only thing they can hope for is a knockout.
Yes.
Knockout can only happen if Trump really does something. If I'm Trump, I am not taking another debate, no matter who it is. I'm not taking another debate. I am. I
don't think his ego can let him do that.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it'll let him do it. But I'm with you, though.
But I mean, the best thing for Trump to do is be as vanilla as he possibly can, be as humble as he possibly can. Neither one of those things he's good at. And stay out of the fire. To me, the ticket, if I'm the strategist right now, my ticket right now would be RFK running with Hillary. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And save either Kamala or Michelle for 28.
You can't.
Sacrificial.
No one wants Kamala in 28. Mm-hmm. They're getting rid of her now.
Yeah.
You talk about the sacrificial, it's her, because I think inside Democratic circles, they knew they couldn't get rid of her because it would have cracked the African-American vote, maybe not to come back to the Democratic Party for a while. So I think the risk was we have to hold the African-American vote, what we have. We know Trump's going to pull more than he ever than any Republican has. But we're okay with that
Mhm.
as long as we keep that African-American coalition, mostly Democrat. We'll go with Kamala. When she loses, we'll blame it on Joe, and then we get to pick brand new candidates starting almost the next day.
Mhm.
I mean, anybody, let me put it this way, anybody not running that says they're backing her is interviewing staff for their presidential exploratory committee, and they will form those committees before the next president is sworn in.
How much does this hurt the down ticket on who's on the
That was the big concern of Democrats, and they're hoping that she and whoever the VP is can stop that. Because I think they weren't just looking at Trump winning. I think they were looking at a bloodbath in the Senate and a bloodbath in the House.
do you think Hillary's in the mix?
I do think her name is in the mix because of her experience
Mhm.
as Secretary of State. Kamala has none of that experience. And again, she's the Dick Cheney of the Democratic Party.
Mhm.
I love that. I'm saying that all the time.
Don't go duck hunting with her.
I'm not going to. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I don't even want to be in a real estate
You're
deal
tra-
with her.
Question number 1. You're trapped in an elevator.
No, don't do this one. Don't do this one. Okay.
That's your most hated question you ever had
I know.
with naked
Okay.
Hillary.
So 5 questions on Monday. This is a
Speed round.
that you started.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Would you rather meet your great-great-grandparents or your great-great-grandchildren?
My great-great-grandchildren.
Why?
Because I just would prefer to see how it moves forward.
Okay.
I know the history of the past.
Okay.
So
You know you were poor pig farmers. So there's no need to go see that.
coal miners and pig farmers.
Okay.
So I mean, there was,
So what you're saying is,
I can tell you this: if I got to go to either one of the great-great-grandparents' house,
yes,
there's not going to be any luxuries there.
there's no, not even indoor plumbing.
No, absolutely not. There was absolutely no indoor plumbing. My grandfather didn't have indoor plumbing.
Clay, what about you?
Great great grandchildren.
I think I'm going to go grandchildren as well.
Mhm.
I really want to see what some of my great-great-grandparents lived like, but I pretty much, I agree with you. I know they were poor.
Mhm.
I know they didn't have a lot of money. I don't think there's no wealth in our backstory or history. If it is so far away from us.
If you go back one more great, I know that grandfather got stabbed in a bar
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania.
Is that why you always wear
that was on my mom's side. That's
Is that
not
why
even
you
on the,
always wear a vest when you go in a bar?
that was on my mom. That's on the Pennsylvania side.
Yeah.
That's not even the Tennessee side.
Yeah. Andy, I know you're from Georgia. You guys got air conditioning in the 1980s after you won a national title.
Yeah.
There was a rebate.
Yeah.
If you won a national title in 1980, you got air conditioning in Georgia. All right. If you were an Olympian, which sport would you wish to compete?
Which sport would I?
Which sport would you wish to compete?
I think just because of my past history, baseball was only an Olympic
Mhm.
sport for so long. It's no longer an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So I think I would have to do like the 100-meter. I like to be a sprinter.
A sprinter.
Yeah.
I have so many comments that I'm going to let go.
Yeah.
A
I
sprinter.
used to be fast.
I hear you still are. Clay, what about you?
Curling.
Curling.
Curling. Oh,
That would be awesome.
He went Winter Olympics on us.
Yes, I know. But curling is
I can tell you this.
amazing.
I think the easiest way to get in the Olympics is be like number 2 or 3 guy in the 4-man bobsled.
Okay.
Because all you got to do is this.
I don't know that I want to do that. That's a lot of close proximity to 2 other guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I know there's 4 in the sled, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm okay.
That's the part that bothers you.
I understand. Sorry. It's just, that's a lot of training in a very tight quarters for a long time.
What's yours?
I would love to say basketball, but seeing how the USA basketball team is doing right now, I don't know that I'm helping them. So it didn't say a great Olympian. It just said an Olympian. Right now, probably surfing. Because surfing's an
surfing's
Olympic
now
sport.
Olympic
So
sport.
I could get to be an Olympian.
I mean, I
in
can do
surfing.
breakdancing. It's now
Yes.
Olympic sport.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Heather's got breakdancing, got gymnastics. Yeah. It didn't trickle down to us until 87. Andy. All right. Clay's got And I love the curling.
Yeah, he's going with curling.
Are you going to be well, they all do everything, right? You throw once in a while, and you sweep sometimes. And
yeah, you have to rotate.
I just think it's so cool to watch them throw that. I can. It's not the fastest Olympic sport, but it is one of the most interesting.
The Olympic sport, and it was an Olympic sport for like 4 Olympics that I think they should bring back.
Mm-hmm.
Tug of war.
Nah, I'm okay with that.
Bring it back.
As the little guy in school, you and I really weren't a factor in tug of war.
No, I was like the mouse at the end.
Yeah, it's like, hey, get it. Blevins, Davis, get at the back of the line.
But if it was a weighted thing,
yeah.
Then I was
you
a
want
factor.
me at the back of the boys' line? No, get at the back of the girls' line and stand back there.
If it was a weighted thing, because for like 89 pounds, I was pretty strong.
No, I'm sorry. No. Okay.
Somebody ripped their arms off.
Who would you rather trade places with for 1 month?
Like anyone in the world?
Anybody in the world for 1 month.
1 month. Oh, man. I'm
good questions today.
That's a good question.
A really good question. Well, while you're thinking and Clay is thinking, I had a hard time with this one because I so enjoy who I am, right?
Yeah.
I just like being me. And I think that's a blessing. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I just enjoy my life.
Would I be able to keep the information moving forward?
No. Okay. You're just them for a month.
So I couldn't get because I was thinking Elon Musk.
I thought you were going for Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, I was thinking Elon Musk.
Yes.
No, you had so much. He had a lot of troubles. Elon has a lot of troubles, but if I could keep the information, then I would say Elon. If I can't keep the information, I don't know. I'd like to be, a guy who could throw like 99 miles an hour. So maybe like a pitcher or somebody like that, just for a month.
So as a pitcher, what does that give you? Because you're not really an athlete. You're not really a baseball player, but you do get a couple of good starts.
No, but you can throw at people's heads, You
want to be Rob Dibble for a month.
Rob Dibble would be great. He was a nasty boy.
Rob Dibble for a month.
Getting a couple scraps that you're going to win.
Yes.
Every fight I ever got in, I was like, man, I hope I win.
I want to be Nolan Ryan when the guy charged at him.
Yeah, it was Ventura, Robin Ventura, where he just...
All right, Clay, who would you want to trade places with for a month?
I was going to say Elon Musk too, or like a rock star, somebody like famous.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger? Would you like to be Mick Jagger?
He's too old.
I knew that. That's why.
Kid Rock came to mind. I mean,
Kid Rock. How about Kid Rock?
I don't think his life sucks.
Fred Durst seems to be doing good again.
Yeah.
Who is Fred Durst?
Biscuit.
Limp Bizkit.
Okay, I wasn't a Limp Bizkit fan.
Yeah, so he was a grunge.
Kind of missed them in the 90s.
I just see him on TikTok all the time.
Okay.
So no, I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I might still stay with Elon.
So I had a hard time. So like money and power, and I'm saying this guy, they're not a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stuff doesn't impress me to the point of so I got to think of who could it be that's out in the outdoors that's going to go see a lot of places in a month that I might not be able to normally see. And the only thing I could come up with is Kelly Slater. Because I could go around and surf some of the best waves in the world.
Is all your answers going to be surfing today?
I think all of my answers are surfing. But it was like, I would want to go somewhere where I can surf these amazing waves. And when you show up to the lineup, people are like, oh, that guy's Kelly Slater. And they get out of your way and let you catch the most amazing waves.
But I mean,
and then having his
would you
ability
have
to
his
surf
talent too? Okay.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Here's why I like Elon is because you have access to more information, and you and I both. The one thing we've always had in common is we both love to learn.
Yes.
And we never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that would be the most ideal spot for my brain. But that's why I wanted to keep the information I learned.
Yes.
So.
All right, this one's a really good one too. And if it kind of stumps you, I can go first. So, which event in the past, present, or future would you like to witness in person?
Which event would I'm gonna let you go first. Right. Clay's got an answer.
So for me, while you guys are kind of thinking of running it, I think there's the close second would be Washington's speech, where he turned down taking the army and marching on Congress, where he told his troops, no, we fought for freedom, and I'm not going to become the next king. That's good. Yeah. But the number one was the Declaration of Independence. is the best breakup letter ever.
Mhm.
It's awesome. To be there when they signed that
Mhm.
and knowing what would happen from that and the country that would grow out of that would be really cool to see that. And watch people going, those guys are nuts. It'll never happen, right?
Yeah.
There had to be somebody across the street going, what are they doing?
Yeah.
The English are going to crush us.
Well, the banker's the one who signed it so big.
Yes.
Hancock's like, I got you.
I got that.
I want the king to see it from here.
So I would want to see that. That would be my thing.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like speeches in my mind and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And, I think I would like to see Lincoln Emancipation Proclamation.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that changed an entire world,
Yes.
So I think that speech, they probably didn't know it at the time,
Mhm.
like what an amazing impact it's going to have. But I think Lincoln's Emancipation speech
Okay.
to me would be my top one. As far as sporting events, I would love to have been at any of the Frazier Ali fights.
That would have been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Would have been great. The Thrilla in Manila.
Yeah, I mean, you and I got to go to one of the most emotional sporting events up in Jacksonville, and that's to me, it was the first football game back in Jacksonville after 9/11.
Yeah.
We got to go there together, and I still every time I see a flyover, I think of that moment.
Yes.
So,
Clay?
I'll go forward until we land on Mars.
That's not bad.
you can jump forward,
He jumped way forward.
Marty McFly there.
We have enough time, so I'm going to invert that question. And Melissa has already answered in one way. She wanted the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. So in Pompeii or out of Pompeii, Melissa? I'm just going to ask, how close did you want to be?
Yeah.
So here's for me, the event that you don't want to be at, right? Mine would be when the asteroid hit and wiped out most of the planet. I'm okay not being there for that one.
Yeah. So, the event you don't want to be at.
The event you would not want to be at.
I got to go with Nagasaki.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there either.
Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I mean,
I do have one other one. I would never want to be in the room when Van Halen broke up.
Mhm.
Because the whole world has gone to hell in a handbasket since Van Halen
unless
broke
you're
up.
Sammy.
There's your chance, Clay. I want to be in the room when Clay became Sammy Hagar for a month.
Yeah.
Leading Van Halen. Van Hagar.
Melissa said the Black Flag.
The Black Flag. Ooh, yeah, that would have been bad.
Ring around the rosy.
What about you, Clay?
A Trump rally, I guess.
Going most recent history, a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Somewhere behind Trump, I'm assuming.
I was actually in Milwaukee when they were having the RNC.
Did you go by?
No, we were fishing out in Lake Michigan. You could see downtown Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like Coast Guard boats everywhere. They'd always come by us, make sure we were just fishing. And there was these poor little kids who kept trying to get out on the pier and fish. And they took their little canoe out there. The Coast Guard zoomed up to them, was like, you can't walk out here. And they went back, got their canoe, came out in the canoe. They came back at them again.
So what you're saying is we're spending more time with Coast Guard and the Secret Service worrying about a bunch of little kids trying to fish than we are about like securing certain places.
I think every distraction.
And they were like
right
6
now.
miles away from the.
Every distraction is huge right now.
We don't need any of that stuff. We absolutely positively.
Yeah.
Heather and Barbara Jean, Woodstock.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a blast at that.
I'm sorry that I have no desire to be in that dirty, muddy place.
That was a mess.
I can't let my hair grow that long.
Yeah. I could let my beard grow. I can't let my hair grow at all.
Showing up with this haircut?
Oh,
people yelling at me.
in khakis?
Oh,
Well, you're
my
wearing
God.
jeans today.
I'd be wearing khakis to that thing. Oh my gosh, it'd be horrible.
So,
It'd be terrible. It'd be like Niedermeyer going to that thing.
Yeah.
That's 2 Animal House references in one show, Mr. Blutarski. All right. Anything else? You guys got a morning show tomorrow morning?
We have a morning show in the morning. Hopefully I can make it. I have to meet an elevator guy.
Do you need me to sit in tomorrow?
yeah. You got question of the day and the Stodom stat.
I hear you don't do much in the morning show.
No, and that's the way I like it. I've worked my entire career to get to that point.
If you guys want to see a real volcano, Krakatoa. Krakatoa, the one that an entire island blew up in the South Pacific, and it caused there to be no summer around the northern hemisphere. That was better than Mount St. Helens, Vesuvius, and the one in the Philippines.
All right, I know you talk about movies. Have you seen the movie off the book of the Vice President candidate?
I have not, but
JD Vance.
but
I tell you, it's a very good movie.
I'm gonna watch it.
Glenn Close is in it. She's amazing in it. And
she's not getting any more Hollywood roles if he gets elected.
It's a really good movie.
Okay.
So I was shocked that it was as good as it was.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocked to find out acting is going on in here.
Shocked.
All right, Clay, anything else?
No.
You're going to be back for detention tomorrow night as well, right?
Yeah.
You got to start behaving yourself.
Yeah.
I know.
You got to start
Is Damien with you tomorrow?
Davey is here, and we have 2 guests from Epic to talk about Big Brothers and Big Sisters and all kinds of other things. And when Davey's on, occasionally he lets me ask a question.
That's nice.
It's nice of him when he does that. It is nice of him when he does that. All right, we'll see you guys. Thank you. Love having you guys watching the show, and we will see y'all tomorrow night.
Bye-bye.